Hi guys, Divine Raver here, and I just wanted to give you a quick tutorial on whip care this morning. When I first got started with my whip, I was told that I should use mild soap and water to clean my whip, and I actually discovered a few other tips along the way that's a little bit more beneficial for you. Soap and water can actually dry out your whip and make the tails very brittle, and we don't want them to break while you're doing your show. So, do that if it's a one-off situation like the whip is seriously dirty. So the first thing, of course, that you're going to want to do is have your whip. This is a pixel whip, just for demo purposes. And what you're going to do is you're going to comb out your whip. Now, when I say comb out your whip, you don't want to do like a brushing movement or try and pull your fingers in between the fibers. You're actually going to just push your hands down and separate the fibers. You want to do it from the tip of the whip all the way down to the handle, kind of like when you brush your hair. You want to start at the bottom, just so that the tangles and everything don't tear and pull at your whip. And then it'll just kind of separate those fibers for you. My whip is already nice and clean. However, if it's got like mud and caked in dirt and stuff like that, you can definitely wipe it out first and then do this. So then once you're all done with combing out your whip, what you're going to want to do is take a microfiber towel. Now, it was recommended to me in a really good recommendation that we use a 3-in-1 silicone lube. You can find this at any hardware store, and it's super cheap. This actually does do wonders when you're trying to clean your whip. So you just put like a little bit on there, not a whole lot. And then, of course, you just take it and you work it into the whip. Now you want to start, of course, at the base. Make sure you clean that part really good, because this is where the fibers can really start to stick. And then you just kind of glide it down. I don't really recommend that you put this 3-in-1 directly on the whip, because it can get kind of globby and sticky. And this is more for like the purpose of cleaning. I have seen people use this for actual lube as well, but in my experience, it doesn't stay on all that well. What I would recommend if you're, after you're done cleaning, to lubricate your whip would be to actually get the whip grease that you can get from the retailer of the whip that you bought. It just holds up a lot better if you're talking about going to like festivals and whipping all night. However, the next step after you're done cleaning that and brushed it all out and everything is you're going to grab your lube. So a cheap way to do this, and if you don't want to wait for your grease in the mail, is you can use like a silicone lube, just like a personal lubricant. Keep in mind though, again, the grease that is made for your whip is going to stay on a lot better. But in this case, some people, they put it directly on the microfiber towel and then rub it on the whip. My experience with this is that, especially when you're using KY or like some kind of personal lubricant, is that it still doesn't stay on the whip that well. When your whip first gets to you, it's really, really greasy if you got the pixel whip, and you'll notice right away that you can't get it the same lubricant. That's because you're using personal lubricant, and possibly because you're using a microfiber towel. So although you can use that to make sure that you don't glob it, if you want to trust yourself, just put a little bit of lube on your hand, just barely anything, kind of squish it around in your fingers so that it's not all globby and all 5 of your fingers are greasy. And then what you're going to do is very carefully pat the whip and then glide your hands in it, because you don't want to like over glob it. And then when I'm saying watch my hands, I'm making sure to keep the fibers separated as they glide through. That way I make sure to grease each and every single one of the fibers, and I'm not actually globbing it. So again, just gliding it. You can do this a couple of times, but I would say don't overdo it. Be very, very careful. If you do glob it, no harm, no foul. Just wipe it out with your microfiber towel and you'll be good. So that's my little tutorial on whip care. And again, I'm Divine Raver. You can find me on Instagram at Divine Raver and on Facebook /Divine Raver.